Well, so far, OpTic seem unstoppable here in the North American ESL Pro League, leading the league now at a 7-0 record. Can they make it 8-0 is going to be the upcoming question as we're getting ready to jump into Mirage. Now, it's not just me, of course. I'm joined once again by my analysts over here at the desk. Gentlemen, what do we think of this upcoming map here now as we switch things over to Mirage?
Well, as James was mentioning earlier, I think it's going to be a little more in favor of NRG in terms of not being 16-3. It's a little puggier style.
Yeah.
It's scrimming a little bit.
Yeah, everyone plays this map a little more often. The coordination will generally be there a little better. The map awareness will be there, right? Like we were talking about how they would stay Ivy on CT side even though nothing happened. Like that type of problem is less likely to happen just because people play the map more. So I think this one will be a little closer. But I'm just interested to see how both teams play, right? It's an interesting matchup in general.
Yeah, let's get some predictions onto the board. However, again, just final word here. Who do we think is going to be taking this one? Is it an OpTic 2-0, or does NRG come back now and take it?
I'm going to stick with my guns, OpTic 2-0. Even though NRG will put up, hopefully, a better fight, OpTic looked really strong on train. Everything was crisp. Their timing, their routes, just teamwork just seemed really above NRG's right now.
Now, NRG did actually end up making it to the LAN last season. Based on the performance that we've been able to see now with this new NHS roster, obviously early days still, but do we think that they have the capability to make it to LAN this season, considering all the new competition that's also coming over, or is this going to be one where they have to sit a little bit lower in the rankings?
I definitely think they do. I want to outline, I think that last match that we saw played on Train is definitely like an isolated event. Like all their other matches they've played so far this season were a lot better. So I don't want to consider that one too much until we see a long string of those kind of maps. In terms of my prediction for this map, though, I think OpTic will win it, just given that they look super strong and confident. But yeah, I think OpTic will take it, and I think NRG can make the LAN.
All right. Well, is there one player that you do think here on the NRG roster, based on the performance of the last map, that we really need to see step up going into this map here in order to allow them to kind of steal this?
I think Fugly's their X factor, right? Like he's one of those players who can be really solid, but for some reason he does it in like a quiet manner. He's like one of those riflers who can anchor a site and get 2 to 3 kills kind of quietly, you know, to start the round off when they're doing an execute. And I think he can do that on Mirage. He's performed pretty well in Mirage in the past.
And now, Eric, for you, is it a different player or the same guy for you?
Can I say the entire team? I mean, 16-3 is literally not. You know, you can't really pinpoint one player. I mean, you want everyone to play better, but 16-3 here, that's a team. That's a team loss right there, Blue.
Well, we're going to have to see, of course, as the match is going to be starting in just a few moments. We still do have a couple of minutes, though, before the match it does begin, and you can see the Betway odds down there as well. The adjusted odds going into map number 2. Let's talk a little bit about some of the leaders of these teams, as we haven't been able to discuss, you know, IGLing in general, and especially now that Freiburg takes over the reins of OpTic. How do we think that in the long term this is going to work out? I
think for Freiburg, it probably will do well. When I was working with him on Put Up or Shut Up, and when I saw him on the analyst desk, he knows what he's talking about. He looks like, or he sounds like a cerebral kind of person, so he's methodical, and it showed that last map with some of the routes that they took and their initial T side, fast, one round slow, fast, you know, kind of mixing it up, really threw off NRG, and I think in the long run, when they have more teamwork together, they're going to do a lot better. Yeah,
I mean, Freiburg as an IGL, it's exciting, right? Like he hasn't been an IGL before, and it's just, I think it's fun when an experienced player who hasn't IGL'd in the past starts to IGL, because they can bring a whole new style to the game, right? Because they haven't been able to do it before, right? Maybe they've learned so much from an IGL in the past that they kind of like add that style that they learned from into their own, and then that's when you can see new things happening.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about some of the other storylines coming together from this OpTic squad. HS being the most interesting one, of course. You know, what are your thoughts on his journey so far to get to this point on OpTic? You know, his short stint in Penta, some of his time before that as well. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere.
Oh man, look at that! That is such a good turtle. Look how good he looks in that turtleneck. Jeez, he just looks so regal.
It's really good
on the far left. Yeah, so it's kind of like a meme journey, right? Like, Penta's that team who just gets their players stolen, right? Like Crystal, he has multiple guns in his inventory that say traitor, right? With the people's stickers on the gun that left his team. And he was like, nobody better leave our team now that we made the major. And then sure enough, you know, HS gets scoped by OpTic, and for good reason. He was owning at the major, right? Like he doesn't care who he's playing against. He's just going to headshot you regardless.
Well, I mean, it's still early on in his career as well, of course, with how young he actually is here, still having many, many years to come. But he is kind of in the shadow of Rops to a certain degree. Do we feel that in the coming months that he's going to be able to overcome that and try to take position as one, the best player from his country, or do we think that Rops is just on like a complete other level compared to him?
I think Rops right now is on a whole nother level, just because he almost had that Stewie mentality where a pug star, now he's on the top team. They made major. He was doing well. So I think HS still has a bit to, I guess, prove in a way, but I don't know.
I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you there.
There you go.
Like I'm not going to let the kind of Twitter sphere dominate that one because, right, like Rops. Oh, Rops, right? Like, what did he do at the major? Do you remember like he really didn't have like that huge Ropsy impact that he was having up until then. HS was on a team that went 0-3 at the major and he owned at the major, right? Like he's the type of player where he's going to step up and get his job done regardless of how the team's doing. In terms of Rops, I don't think it was like his fault, so to speak. It's kind of hard to succeed on a team when you're a lurker, right? If they're not doing well, it's kind of hard to succeed as a lurker, right? Because you might be left in a 1v4 or something like that. So I think that they're both great players. They're both from Estonia, and I think that they'd want to both be the best, right? They don't want to be better. They're both happy for each other.
And to give some statistical context to what you were talking about there, with him performing very well at these numerous LAN events as well, I was able to look that up before, and at every single LAN event he played while under Penta, he managed to achieve over a 1.0 HLTV rating with like
insane.
one event as an exception. And it was like a pretty small, like it was like the GeForce Cup or something like that he played in as well. It was a much smaller LAN in context, but all the big LANs that he played at always had a great rating, always had a great performance in all, like 5 of the LANs that he played on.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too, is like, I'm kind of like mentally comparing OpTic, not to like, let's look at this Estonian guy because there's an Estonian guy on the team. I'm comparing them to FaZe, right? Like FaZe is this other international roster, and let's be honest, they're largely kind of like underwhelming compared to the players they have. Like if somebody showed me that FaZe roster like 6 months ago, I'd be like, that's insane. Like they're just gonna own everybody, right? Like if the tactics are in place. But I would say that, OpTic's facing not as good of teams that FaZe has faced, so it's kind of unconcluded there who's going to be doing better. But I would, OpTic looks a little better at this point in terms of who they've played against.
Well, Eric, what are your thoughts on this? How do you compare OpTic and FaZe as two separate teams now, and two teams that have 5 players from all different countries?
I think James makes a pretty good point on the level of teams that they've faced up against. FaZe, playing in tournaments, majors, against top teams of the world, beating the top teams of the world, coming second place, first place. OpTic's kind of just a ragtag, people who are cut from the other teams or replaced, and then they all came together. And so I mean, you can't say that they're as up there yet because, they still have a lot of CS to prove to us.
Yeah, they've played 7 matches in EPL, and that's it, compared to FaZe that played at a major and then at Malmo, right? Like, and then also some Pro League matches. But like the level of competition of a team that you're going to play against at a major is, I would say it's not even comparable to like the first X games of an ESL Pro League season, right? Like, like nobody thought Gambit was going to win, right? Like, how do you know who's going to be the best at a major? You don't. Everyone's going to come with guns blazing.
Well, let's talk really quickly here about Magisk as well, as he had a great performance towards the end of 2016, but to a certain degree, he kind of dived off. Is this his time now to come back into the spotlight on OpTic?
I hope so. I think one of the major reasons why he kind of went down, apparently he's an angry person. Rager. They
really?
Get along. That's
I didn't know that.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So.
Well, I mean, I know he's passionate, right? When you saw them winning rounds when he was on North, he would be like out of his chair with like his.
And that's
fist,
amazing. That's
right?
what you have to have. You have to have the passion, but you have to learn to, if you're not winning, like what happened with North, they're up and winning, and all of a sudden they kind of slumped around. You got to keep your composure. You got to be smart about it. You got to find ways to fix it.
Yeah, it's a mental game.
It's a mental game, and so if he could stay mentally focused, I think he'll be a huge impact for OpTic.
Well, let's bring the casters into the discussion now, as it's almost match time, ladies and gentlemen. Launders and Scrawny, how do you think this second map is going to play out?
I can't help but feel like we're going to be watching, again, a bit more of a mirror to Train. I'd like to hope that we'll see the reinvigorated NRG actually put up more rounds than they did on that opening map. One can only hope, right? There's not much further down they can go. So yeah, I'm going to shoot for the stars and say NRG at least come in packing with this one.
How many rounds?
Oh, you put me on the spot, but I'm going to say, you know what? Let's go with a very gracious 5.
5. That is, yeah, that's yeah, all right. That's a little bit more savage than I would have assumed you'd go, but I can understand, because it seems like NRG are probably going to get overwhelmed, considering how overwhelmed they got on train. Even though OpTic were never forced to even change their style, and 3 rounds easy to beat. 5 rounds still, you could luck out on 5 rounds, but the way that OpTic were playing, obviously they're going to make them earn it. So I can understand where you're coming from for sure.
I'd love to be proven wrong. We'll see if that pistol round can start things off with the favor of NRG. Cirque has found an opening, but it's HS doing what he does best, and that's pistol headshots. Only able to find 1 towards that A site, so NRG overwhelm the bomb zone and actually find their plant with relative ease. They fall back towards the ramp as well. Strong after plant for them to play. And a bit of an insurance policy here in the form of A&J. He's all the way back on underpass. So Alu to the top side of the stairs, has a teammate over in the bomb site. It's Alu who wants these fights, and he's actually able to win the first versus Daps. He wants the next on Fugly, but now it's all on Mixwell, and NRG have done it. That's the kind of round that could at least net them the opening 3 conversions.
We really never saw a round where NRG looked that good, even in the first game, so that was a nice sight to see. We see a couple of AKs being bought, and obviously that first just A hit was the standard smoke, swarmed the site, put a lot of pressure on HS. HS couldn't get 2 from his position, even though his 1 kill was pretty clean. And now are probably just going to try to funnel as many kills as they can into these SMGs, as 3 players from NRG. Oh, no, it's actually just 2 as they leave the bomb here to make sure that no mid-push happens. Magisk has also got actually aggressive. And this will be the first time we see them win a pistol, so we're going to see what it looks like for NRG to play an anti-eco, and what OpTic look like when they're on the back foot.
Of course, keeping 2 players on A site, 2 inside of mid. Mixwell does not have the scout. It's in the hands of Alu. And again, that's going to be over towards the A site. So just playing the scout rather on ticket would allow for him to rotate around, but it's actually Freiburg who gets curious towards the apartments, and he's going to be punished for that. Goes down first and foremost. NRG able to already open up with the 5v4, but it's 2 stacked portions of the map that they need to still get through. And while they throw grenades on A, it's actually the bomb headed towards the B site, which is currently for the taking.
Absolutely no one moving quite yet. Now we have a couple of players from OpTic moving up to top mid, 1 rotate into B. The slow execute comes out. They might be able to catch rotators here, knowing that they just had executed. 1 person staying back, and Mixwell on an off angle. Fugly gonna try to take this fight. Damage dealt. Don't know if he realizes he got the dink, but probably should have just continued to try to capitalize on that 1 kill. Instead, he's gonna let him go, let his teammate kind of pick up the slack, and they have a crunch here as Magisk Boy has walked underpass.
Certainly still in a decent spot to actually maybe find a couple kills. If Cirque were to swing out on mid, then that's really going to put a dampener on the players to the top side, but they've now retreated. So the guys who were in threat of being pushed inside of apps have actually got some wiggle room. They're going to chase these middle frags and hope that someone walks their way. Meanwhile, Magisk, he's going to remain patient to the bottom side of underpass, hoping that, again, somebody exits in his direction. But NRG playing this safe, keeping all 5 players alive for the time being. Could still go down as the bomb explodes, but OpTic, they want these guns, and they're going to lose out at least on 1. That's HS removed, and NRG to move to 2.
I definitely quite like how they tried to hang on to as much armor as possible once they realized it was the other side that was being taken. I also like that they didn't move when the execute came out. NRG were clearly selling them a bill of goods when they went to go B. In reality, Freiburg going down at first allowed them to do it safely. So far, it's been a couple of clean rounds from NRG, like the NT-Eco, and we're gonna have another one on our hands to see if they play it differently.
That's a great kill with the UMP. I mean, you consider the distance nerf that Valve applied to that gun, and all of a sudden you find that headshot on the cross.
I don't think he's updated his game yet. That's the secret.
Cheaters. OpTic, of course, still just waiting to get that buy. I mean, we saw them opt for the 0 investment on the second round of train after the bomb plant. Very content to get that full utility purchase, and this is again going to be that instance. I mean, Freiburg doesn't even upgrade his pistol. No money spent whatsoever. Remaining frugal is OpTic, and it's the best bet they have in mind. But here comes the push. NRG into the bomb site. Great flashbang. That blinds Magisk. It's a running gun from Breeze, making some quick cash as Daps does the same. Clears up the A site and really removes the threat. I mean, Freiburg and Mixwell coming over from B site should get caught off guard to the player to the top side, but That flash somewhat connects. ANJ takes some damage, and poor old Mixwell can't connect the shots.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff, really nice. NRG are able to kill all those people, not lose anybody, keep their SMGs as well. The only question now is, will they try to hang on to them? And yeah, there's that first frag from Breeze as he comes up, kills the player under Balk as well. Lots of money gained is the key point. And we move into the first rifle round. They are deciding not to upgrade, even though this MAC-10 only costs $1,000. Instead, they're going to recycle it into what might just be a bonus round. AJ going to be mollying out connector. T defaults, pretty simple stuff, especially on T side. Most teams know exactly what the plan is, and that's why I kind of feel like OpTic won't have trouble on their T side. I mean, Mirage, as long as they discern what roles people are doing, it should be pretty simple stuff.
Freiburg's actually going to get flashed here, so he's a bit of a hindrance as Daps is inside that windowsill holding the MAC-10, but now he holds nothing. As Magis cleans up on middle, great 2K off of him. Cirque with a response, leaves it to the 2 versus 4 as him and ANJ could split into the A site, but OpTic quickly shut that down. Again, individual duels going the way of OpTic, leaving them with 4 players alive at the end of a successful gun round.
Wow, amazing. You know, NRG have tons of money to work with, but they've got to be scratching their heads a little bit because OpTic just got in their faces really quickly and were able to stop them before NRG were even able to carry out part 2 of the plan, which is get in the site. So the split gets shut down early. OpTic put a round on the board. They keep 5 alive on their first rifle round, which is really nice to recoup some of their losses. Breeze taking a lot of early damage here, but trades out 1 headshot on Magis Boy, and connector's open.
This is a nice 5v4 with some map control in the hands of NRG, but OpTic don't want to let this slide. We see Mixwell sliding up and down the ladder as his teammate Alu over in connector pries to the bottom of mid. But now Breeze, with a smoke into the windowsill, will reposition on Cat, and he's going to hope to maybe duel off versus a player here and now. Mixwell, completely blind. That was an excellent flashbang, but Mixwell still wants this fight. Breeze has crossed over, he spots the op, he doesn't shoot, and Breeze gets the best of him. A 5 versus 3 now in the pocket of NRG.
Oh, wow, he's so unlucky he just saw that barrel. Obviously wasn't a calculated play, but NRG, even with 3 players super hurt, they have what could be a prime B split. The rotate, however, is going to be quite difficult to answer to. If a 2v top 5 could happen, I would assume it's going to be on a round just like this.
Freiburg up close, finds Breeze first. Cirque is next in line. Headshot through the edge of the wall, convinces the bomb and its escort to tuck tail, head back towards spawn, and try to get to A, where Daps has found another frag off of Catwalk, despite taking damage in the process. And HS now needs to clutch 1 versus 3. He's got no utility to play off of, despite having the kit. The one advantage, he can spot this cross. The flashbang does not connect to his eyes, so he still has a great line of sight. But the smoke's going to take that from him, as now even Fugly's tagged. That's 3 players on the side of NRG, all lit. Not that it matters, as HS is caught out in the open.
This is kind of what I talked about in my videos. Just like, even if you have that good rotate, as long as you've got the man advantage and you use it properly, you have so many outs in the round. And we had the rotate back to A because Daps was able to lead it once he realized his teammates were kind of losing fights at B, where they were initially going to split when he was going to be the lurker. So there was an out right there. They took advantage of it. OpTic had no answer. There was the ability for Freiburg to win that duel versus Daps, which was the one point of the round where I thought, okay, this might actually get ugly, but he doesn't, and that's all they wrote. So now we got to move into this round. NRG again having another clean anti-eco to kick it off. 3 kills, 4 kills. Just Mixwell alone in window.
NRG certainly have already secured that 5-round mark. Mixwell gets tagged up through the wall. Cirque has a read on him. Currently Breeze is above him, but he's going to roast inside of the windowsill. Actually dies to the shot, so quicker than the flames is the fingers of Cirque, both of which on fire.
Indeed, yeah. Another buy-up. Alu picking up the op. Everybody else only has rifle money. Don't have that art money, fresh start money, op money instead. And actually Freiburg with just the UMP, which, depending on your spot, can be just as viable as any other gun. But 3 people moving in through B and a fast A hit. Yeah, HS is able to stop at least the first, but Ange removes him to the side of the boxes. So it's the rotation now that's got to get in front of the push from NRG.
And Ticket's not smoked off. Alu could still find himself an angle despite being blind. Breeze walks right in. That's the bomb now dropped, and Alu still in position. Everybody trying to watch the jungle side leaves Alu in a prime spot. And now that the smokes have faded, they're stuck in the open. They have a single Molotov and 2 flashbangs to play off of. Double smoke and a single flash on OpTic, but it's a stalemate. Everybody posted up on their angles and just giving a bit of time to maybe find a kill. It's going to be NRG that tries to cross towards Connector. OpTic's making the call to come in for the fight. Alu finding one, Mixwell the next, but now it's down to the new guy. Cirque on his op with the bomb finds the plant, but now he needs to find Magisk and Mixwell, who are both coming in from Connector. Could possibly line up. Off of the flash, he goes for the cross. Now he knows where they are. But they need to root him out of this, and the smoke grenade's going to do exactly that. He'll be forced to the top side of the boxes unless he can fire through it. Mixwell's on the bomb, he jumps and it costs him. There we go, OpTic win a round.
Dude, Cirque definitely has what it takes. That was really well played in that 1v2 and the try, but obviously the smoke just ends the round. There was pretty much no way he could win that. Even from there, almost lines it up nicely. But here's where they mess up. Breeze completely throws this round. I mean, they had 2 smokes down for another like 5 to 7 seconds on stairs and jungle. Without that, you cannot cover anybody planning unless by using them as a body block versus an op, so that's just giving up a kill. Why didn't he just go plant front triple, I should say? The only thing that could have happened if someone pushes up to CT, which could have been watched, and they try to go for a wall bang. But that's worst case scenario. Instead, they drop the bomb because he tries to shoulder peek and op for no reason, and now OpTic pull out a second round and actually put NRG's money in jeopardy.
So a great 5-round start for NRG. It's now in question. This is a good chance for OpTic to restabilize, and that's exactly what we saw last night versus Splice. I mean, they had 7-1 leads and 11-4 halves. So OpTic, they're no strangers to being on the back foot. NRG's composure now in question, but what's not in question is mid control. That belongs entirely to the T side.
They have moved up on it, and obviously with just a rifle and window, OpTic have got to play either, well, a more passive setup at window, and they've got to worry now more about Connector and Cat. And there it is, Alu with the op, making presence, going for the, second peek. Fugly goes down, thinking he's going to fall back, but he's got a teammate there to help him out if he does.
Alu was on fire last night, so if he can come to life off the op, that'd be great, but it's Freiberg who needs to stop this push. Finding the first and jumping for the next. Angel will move his head, and that takes NRG into the 2v3 with the bomb on site, but HS inside of Market has a teammate on the flank, and with the bomb now not planted, Mixwell's got a chance to push in. They're actually going to divert to the A site, but HS, he catches one on the exit, so it's only Ange, and while he does get into the jungle, the player on Cat could stop this.
I really wish they both got away. I mean, at this point, they're going to get a plant. ANJ is in such a tough position. If he had an op, maybe there'd be an opportunity, but as he's got the cross to find a better plant spot, or a better after plant spot, the volley goes down, pushes him out of his position, and he gets killed easily. So another round win for OpTic. NRG now might have to save because of that mistake last round when they had a great full execute on A that they completely fluffed by losing the bomb earlier than they needed to, and they just don't want to give up a lead. They, as soon as there's blood in the water, you're going to see OpTic.
I actually really appreciate that decision to push into Marketplace, try to find that duel, and then head over to the A site. Like, it's the moment where, sure enough, you're risking your insured bomb plant. But to me, that's what Stromberg would call a round-winning play. They kind of put it on the line, and I'm sure at that point they knew the flank was inbound. They had 0 mid-control, so Cat was in question. The retake certainly would have gone the way of OpTic, or at least the odds dictated that.
Yeah, absolutely. They had to do something, and that's what's always really fun about 2vx situations is you could take risks that you wouldn't want to take in 5v5s. So we saw them try to pull it off. It didn't work out, but that's okay. That happens sometimes. Breeze, very good on his teammate. Saves ANJ from dying as he falls back flashed, and that leaves OpTic 4v5 now with eyes on mid, but NRG to avoid it.
We saw OpTic remain dynamic on their T side of train, always kind of throwing something new through both timing and direction. This time they go for the 2-player B apps push. And I'll get your thoughts on that once we see this execution from NRG, seeing as they have 4 players poised outside A ramp. Of course, the Opera's already tagged, so he's going to want to stay in the backside. They're going to try to push those AKs forward. Last time, it was Alu on Ticket Booth that really shut them down as Breeze was caught mid-sight. This time, Alu's blocked off, so the Op will not be in play. It's going to be all on HS, the Estonian. As he holds the line towards Ticket, Alu tries to create a distraction, but now it's HS's turn to come in. He's denied. Breeze up close, finds the frag, the plant safely behind the boxes, leaves Magisk and Mixwell in a 2 versus 5. The odds seriously stacked against them, but they can at least deal damage. A big spray from Magisk ultimately connects. That's now Daps down, and Mixwell, well, he's going to let him walk by.
Oh my God.
Almost gets caught, but Breeze is removed. And Mixwell knows this round is done for.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And that's just textbook Counter-Strike. They went and got their opening kills, and they came back for a full A hit. You can always do a full A split right out of spawn, or A hit, excuse me, but that's going to be closer to a 50-50. You get that opening kill, then you're really guaranteeing you win the round. You pick 2 choke points you know are safe, you get everybody in the site with proper nades from safe positions, and then once you're in, just focus on trading out. Didn't even lose that many players. Super good decision. And this is a really nice 180 from Breeze, extremely clean. If he was any slower, HS had him dead to rights. Now, round 10, another buy-up, actually. They're going to have 2 UMPs. OpTic have been going for mid-control over and over again and be using these guys as fast rotates for A if they don't actually have anyone to fight. A Palace push, however, might shut down ANJ, who's falling back. Our number 7 man pushing up on him right now. I don't know who's going to take this fight.
Yeah.
Who's going to win it?
Seems like Ange is going to round that corner, and Alu's actually able to win. So Palace is in the hands of OpTic, despite NRG trying to entry on ramp. It is a complete shutdown, as already the rotators are in position. Both of NRG's players sandwiched between these players. They've got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Everyone dies, except for the players on OpTic.
So this is the double-edged sword about going A-ramp. A-ramp is great because you can throw all your nades over. The flash is the easiest to throw, and it's a wider choke point so you can come out, but it's also where all the counter nades go. It's where you expect to have at least one person go for sure on an A hit. And so OpTic there taking Palace control. Whoever is in Palace, if you're a CT, are able to see, you have a great angle on players who come up Tetris or A ramp, and holding it, especially in the afterplant situations, if no one actually goes Palace, is the perfect lurk spot and can be a big flank later in the round. So for them to give up control of it, only send one there to try to trade out. Once they lost that duel, had effectively lost the round. There was almost no way that OpTic could blow it from that point.
I feel like as of late, we've seen NRG kind of divert their control of middle and just go more fixated towards the bomb sites. I mean, we saw that rotate back for the full A execution, and now OpTic, despite going for that early mid presence and putting a player kind of halfway up the ramp, they're very quickly rotating to bomb sites right after. We'll see if they can stop the pistols as Freiburg burns alive. He sprays for 2 until Breeze finds him. And another Mixwell removed as HS chimes in with a frag of his own. That is the bomb on site, but it's contested as Magisk quick rotates up Cat and leaves only Daps to be found by the Op of Alu.
Super good attempt. I mean, obviously very nice 1D from Breeze on kind of that slide out peek from the bench, but it wasn't enough to get the bomb down, which was critical. Freiburg gets 2, even though the molly lands right on top of him, and seriously hard to see from that position. But wow, just off a reaction almost. Didn't even get himself ready, shake his hands up, then go for the peek. Was just on the move, turned to the side, took his face off. The double eco, actually, NRG in a really bad position now. 2 flashes and an opening kill. ANG starting to make things weird, but drops the utility as well as gives up the kill.
Now, of course, that middle presence from OpTic having been removed off mid quickly does get them that early boost through window. NRG are able to do it, but Cert gets denied inside the jungle, and Magisk locks things down. Again, an effective anti-eco, although this time they lose 2 players.
Yeah, this time they do lose 2 players, which is a good thing. And that was I just got never felt more blue-balled. Yeah. What happens? Okay, so potential for 9-6 half for both teams. It's obviously going to be a tactical pause for NRG coming out of a double eco, which I think they just spent trying to figure out how to do some economic damage before they allocated this time to just talk things over. Now OpTic they have a lot of options. They've been working on getting mid control. They've been getting it for free and then rotating in for executes and being able to take advantage of that as well. So I think NRG don't realize that how many times they've actually gone for mid control and have just waited there. And if they did, they would know that Magis is kind of out in the open and they're really relying on either Mixwell, Alu, who is up on cat or in connector, to make sure they get that frag first or share that information. It's very viable. You can have one person at A retake. A retake on A is a very common setup right out the gate, and if you can dedicate 2 players to mid, you're effectively holding on to both parts of the map, no problem. As long as you trust yourself to be able to perform that retake. And we actually have like a ramp presence. 3 towards mid. No one from OpTic going mid except Alu just up in connector.
Ooh, misses the flick shot and takes a bit of damage in response for that.
They didn't molly connector, which is like standard practice to do behind that smoke, and we saw them do it and they have Molotovs, so that was a bit of a misstep. Very lucky to not gotten killed.
Of course, we saw Alu go for that initial op peek, and this time it's Mixwell we're watching over on Catwalk. So he could now get aggressive, clear out these angles, and just hope someone steps into him. And then the moment he fires off, we could even see a re-peek from Alu. So certainly looking for that 2-pronged op assault inside of mid. But a whole collection of grenades is going to start to block things off, despite Mixwell still holding this angle.
Yeah, a ton of pressure right now as we see that the ops are not just shooting straight on. They're playing from cat and connector. Mixwell also getting quite aggressive, but Breeze too wise to his moves. Goes and takes a peek towards cat, kills him, has connector control, and allows his team to have a 3-way A split.
But HS, he comes out of the sandwich, finding 2 headshots off the AK. Now he's going to get pinched as Breeze forwards in, and that's the bomb site to the hands of NRG. But they're still unable to cross. They could go for the safe plant over on default, but once more, no one's watching the plant. The flashbang does its job. It allows for Fugly to take that, but it's not going to stop Freiburg from swinging wide when he decides to do exactly that. No utility other than the Molotov on Ange. And Fugly's the insurance policy here, sitting to the backside of the firebox. He's going to block off the angle from the top of stairs using that taller tower, peeks out thanks to the fire and finds that first. So Magisk needs to clutch up close. He's found the first. Ange, still above, has the insurance policy on the molly and could swing out with it, but instead he goes for the spray, and it still works out.
Oh my god, did he run out of bullets? He was at the back of default. He picked that headshot angle. It was perfect. AJ had no idea where he was shooting from. And I think he just ran out of ammo or thought that he killed him and decided to go for the fuse. Maybe that was it. I mean, if you had run out of bullets, you wouldn't have pulled out your knife and ran in front of the bomb box, right? So
it's still scary to me seeing Ange swing out when you have a Molotov. Like, the whole purpose of that grenade is to chuck it onto bomb site.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I mean, you would imagine his teammates at the very least would have reminded him that he had it as well.
Then again, very difficult angle to bank one off of, so if you have to swing out with something in hand, the AK gets you the chance to duel. So I can see the reason.
Yeah, I imagine you try to just line up against the wall, but imagine mauling yourself out of out of Palace in that situation. It's gonna be hard to recover from that. Now three players up at B-Apps. We haven't seen that NRG, wherever they go immediately doesn't mean that they're going to hit that site at the end of the day. They like to throw fakes, which is good to see. But usually when you see the bomb this many people, you can see the intention might be to hit the site. Now, a common fake, however, is to run underpass as your nades are making a ton of noise. Everybody falling back, walking out. It's unclear exactly what kind of presence they were trying to make, but they haven't pulled an additional rotate. OpTic are not biting on this whatsoever.
No, they're going to keep that 3-man stack for the CT side over on the A site. And it's there that now NRG rotate over. I mean, this has been their very common late-round call for the T side. Just go again for the apartments control, maybe watch the top of mid, and then congregate towards A in order to execute in. However, that wall of smokes is yet to be thrown, and Freiburg finds the lurk. That's Ange down for the count. That pulls the rotate over, leaves HS all alone, and Breeze up close finds the frag, leaving Magisk to rotate in. He sprays for one, but then he's removed, and it leaves us to the 3v3. However, Alu is dangerously close. He jumps to the top of the ticket, finds the one up close, and then just holds on here. It's going to leave Daps to the side of the firebox, as Alu now removed tries to do that again. Freiburg follows suit, and Mixwell the next to be toppled.
Huh. Well, just really good kills from the afterplant positions where they had to take fights. Sitting on default can be quite difficult. Once the smokes dissipate, you've got to take control of CT. And Alu did what he could here, jumping up on the box, catching Breeze completely off guard, getting some information as well from his jump. But Daps winning his fight from Firebox, critically important, and NRG taking other rounds off of that they execute. Even though OpTic didn't bite on it, 3 players dedicated to the site.
Breeze, though, he's going to look to lead this charge yet again. HS, same angle, same death. Of course, we do have Magisk on the staircase. Now he will be pinned. Cirque tries to help it out. Breeze needs no help. He's a one-man show thus far. Wants himself another frag. He takes it. And NRG take the A site with absolute ease.
Oh, another thing to point out about the last round was that HS actually messed up and pushed too far up on the box when he was watching connector from default, which I'm not actually sure why he was even responsible for that point in the site.
Great 9-6 half. NRG have a lead. Can they hang on? Time will tell. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. It's the ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safecar, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
A 3-point lead for NRG at the end of that opening half, Launders. It was much more convincing than what we saw on Train.
Yeah, it was definitely much more convincing. OpTic, I think setups were actually pretty good, but at the same time, NRG did a good job of playing the game, making sure that they were keeping it at least a little incognito, going from A to B, and throwing enough mix-ups in there that like initial setups from OpTic where they wanted to go for mid control, there was no one there to even fight them, and that kind of put them in a position to have to like rotate into a site when maybe they wanted to play dedicated. And it's tough to say. I think some of the rounds OpTic probably could have won even just and were lost because of simple individual mistakes, like HS losing the site in that one of those last rounds, Magisk fluffing the after plant position in that 1v1 where ANJ didn't decide to molly him, and then it results in a half that's actually quite good for NRG. I mean, there's a few rifle rounds in there too. They've had to double save for some of those losses, so that was not a bad performance.
Of course, if you did not catch the cast last night, we saw OpTic on the back foot of 2 opening halves. So they've been here before and at an even greater deficit. Again, 4 rounds versus Splice on those 2 maps. And they were still able to come back off of that. So let's not count out the OpTic boys just as of yet. We know they are resilient. But they've actually taken the bomb alone into Palace, leaving the rest of the team to spread out.
This is a bit of a risk because someone could push, but it's not often that someone pushes Palace on a pistol. Cirque in left side window causing such a problem. Doesn't even die, barely takes any damage whatsoever, and now can fall back. Yeah,
and that bomb's about to walk into a 3-man stack with the help from Cat and the jungle rotate. Ange able to find 2 quick headshots, Breeze with a 3rd. Everyone from NRG standing at the end of that. 5 swift headshots with that accurate USP.
Yeah, he's super clean with those shots, man. ANJ reminds me a lot of even just HS, as I guess both players, you know, coming from overseas, but their aim is just so crispy. And look at that tight peek on Magisk. Absolutely no chance to really stop that. The only thing that can beat a pre-fire is a pre-fire, so called him out completely, even though he was stuck in an angle that you don't have much room to work with.
It's NRG now picking up both pistol rounds in this match. We'll see if they can convert for the full 6 points. We obviously know that that's such a hindrance versus the other team. But unlike on Train, OpTic gonna buy in on this second one. They never got the bomb plant, they never got a kill. So they might as well go with the double D, single Tech 9, and P250s. Leaves them with a flashbang on Mixwell. That could be the trigger for the flooding of the terrorists. Cirque, again, wants a fight on mid, but he's going to have to be careful. There's 3 players directly underneath, and now Alu's in. Finds the 5v4 and the M4, but it's been ripped from his hands as Fugly tries to trade. HS does the same. And he does get his hands back on that gun. We know that jungle can be such a powerful position when you're trying to take over A. And now that Freiburg clears Breeze from the backside, this one's got OpTic written all over it.
Man, that was such a nice eco. And I almost write it off like this round is over. ANJ's still alive, Dap's still alive. But they've got so many people to find while this bomb is ticking down.
I mean, Daps, he just wants some kind of an opening off of Cat. But at the same time, ANJ, he's yet to rotate out of CT spawn. The smoke grenade allows that exit as he blocks off vision of his opponents. So NRG are going to just tuck tail and fight in the next one with the 2 saved guns, if they're allowed to hold them. Because Daps, well, he's been found. And while he takes Mixwell down, HS is still nearby.
That was super clean, man. When they walked underpass, they all made sure to hug the right wall. Like, all 3 of them didn't give any sign of life to ANJ, who was jumping in the window, or actually, excuse me, Cirque, who was jumping in the window, and for that reason, just caught completely off guard as soon as they boosted up. Even put 2 people there so that when he was traded out, they had the ability to trade out Fugly, which was really important as well. And here he is, just getting caught off guard. He was looking out the window, but he was trying to spot top mid. Had no idea someone was going to appear right in front of him, and unfortunately got killed for it. But yeah, great eco round.
All it takes is one calculated jumping Tech 9 headshot. And there we have it.
This had so much to ask.
ANJ over on Catwalk decides to give up his position. Maybe feels that he could get overwhelmed in that spot, being so close and with so little exits. So he reels backwards into the B-bomb site. I think that's the safer bet. I mean, if anything, sure, gamble the SMGs or so, but that one FAMAS can be deadly at a distance. So you want to hang on to that.
Absolutely. Very, very slow default. Not like we saw on Train, where they actually picked up the pace almost every single round. OpTic, I think, are playing with a little bit more respect here, knowing that NRG have shown some finesse on their T side and have this catwalk up that they use, I think, on their anti-ecos, but it's a force buy from NRG, as Daps is pretty close up.
NRG's trying to rotate over. ANJ finds that opening kill, Daps removed, but he tags Freiburg heavily at that. Here comes the next. The FAMAS paying off as he swaps to the USP with the 3rd frag, maybe 4. He needs to get a fresh mag in that gun as his teammates rotate over. The flashbang will allow for the peek as Cirque has now arrived. They know where Mixwell is, and he takes him down 2. An excellent hold from Ange.
What more can you ask? He kills the split. That's so nuts. He actually gets that first FAMAS kill, does so much damage. Well, Freiburg takes a lot of damage from Daps and is able to hold these guys off on Cat long enough and stay alive to the point that they couldn't pass, move past Get Right. The rotate comes in to fight from window, and here he is, just able to even reload his gun because of the amount of time he's bought for his teammates to rotate in, using his utility beautifully, throwing that lash flash even to blind Freiburg as well as his teammate, but ultimately keeps them both alive. Now in the following rounds, 11-7. OpTic have decided to force up in response to losing that round. Must be salty. That was a tough one. Tough pill to swallow. Breeze here on the stairs. Not able to find anyone to fight just yet, but everyone's kind of in a rotator spot. No smokes, however, to assist.
Yeah, no control of CT spawn either, so if OpTic can push through this bomb site, that would give him a nice after plant to play with. But they might not even find that positioning, seeing as 2 are already dead. HS, though, he's swinging it back with one of the only 2 rifles in their team's hands. Cirque, however, in a playmaker position, peeks out, taps off the UMP, and with a drive-by drops the bomb. So Magisk on the Deagle gets a crucial kill, swinging it back into the 2 versus 2 and opening up an opportunity. But the problem is the health, the utility, the positioning, it's all in the favor of NRG.
Indeed. They have the bomb as well in vision from Connector, even though OpTic are assuming there is someone CT and there's no one there. It's not making their lives any easier, and they've got to cross. Daps realizes that he has to take first contact. They might have the ability to go and grab the bomb without getting spotted, and there it is. They're going to try to plant, but they're in spammable positions, and fortunately for them, Magix is able to duck under the bullets, and now the retake is on.
Daps is going to get into a further jungle spot. Magisk still pinned in, but he's got his hands on the AK. Serious upgrade for him. HS is just going to hide and try to hold the cross. I don't imagine Magisk peeks here. But now HS gives up the angle, so more wiggle room for the CTs to play off of. They are going to close the gap. They clear out the site, and now they need to find HS. He's going to start to creep around the boxes, whips back to the Galil, goes for the spray, but he is denied. Ange with a quick 180 and a team ace on NRG.
180 off the corner of the box, and I mean, honestly, the only reason that round got so close is because of these two Galil kills right here. Insane, making a case for it, honestly. I mean, that was a headshot on that first bullet on Fugly as well. Unbelievable to be able to hit it from that distance, so pretty fortunate to get that bomb down. Has actually incentivized them to buy again, which may or may not be a good thing, but I think they see that there was only 2 players alive left for NRG. They don't want to let this game go too deep. Daps going to be mollying after spotting more than 1 player pushing through apps. And there was a stalwart behold last time. I don't think it's going to be any easier this time.
Of course, we already have those rotators coming in as the flanks inbound. Fugly to the side of underpass. Great flash, holds the T's back, but one gets in. That's HS to the side of the benches. Great repositioning. NRG keep everyone alive. And a fantastic 2K sprays responded back by OpTic. They've got the bomb near sight, but they've already been boxed in. There's a gap in the smoke and a wide open window with the flank from Fugly finding the first. It's Breeze with the next. NRG move on to 13.
Oh. And you wonder if the buying decisions that they made last round, is it starting to cost them, because they've gone from a position where it was like 11 and they did a risky buy to buying again and again, and are kind of low at this point. They are going to move on to 14 with, I guess, a 4-round loss, which is nice for them, but beyond that are going to have to save right here. So it's coming down to the wire for OpTic, who it seemed like after the beginning of or at the end of the first half, well, they're still in it now. That hope is slipping away. NRG are starting to take control of things, and it's all largely in part due to a really nice B-hold from A&J, Cirque Rotator, and their teammate in the site. So all they have to do right now is play it slow, stay back, wait for kills, and here we have not even a player inside window. Not going to get burned like that second round.
And last night, when OpTic were able to make those comebacks versus Splice, they had the economy rolling forward the entire second half. Because it was 11-4 at the end of the first, they had no wiggle room. And this time they've gambled the little space they had left over to go on these force buys. I understand why they're doing it. They know NRG were just so weak economically. But now it's kind of backfired. NRG are 2 rounds away from securing overtime. This one should certainly go their way. And that's going to put OpTic on a massive comeback, one bigger than anything they saw last night.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to pounce on a wounded animal, but the thing is, OpTic, in that situation with 2 alive each time, it's questionable whether or not you want to try to do it again. And NRG just got more and more resilient each time, less likely to lose, it seemed. So giving them opportunities to learn from their mistakes versus weak buys or half buys, and in the process giving up strategies that they might use on future rifle rounds. So now more pressure again put on A&J. I don't know why they love this B side so much, but he's been a monster here.
Fugly's able to find one. Mixwell something done with his deagle, but Daps, he's in a great position here to just hold things off. However, HS has a gun. Not for long though. The Cirque rotates over, easy round follows suit. Only 1 kill to the favor of OpTic.
Yeah, that's it. Opening kill here with, oh my god. Ooh. Whoa, what a flick. That's tough. Just saw his pants. And OpTic are actually going to be pausing right now, and then you know that definitely makes sense.
Yep.
It's a 7-round deficit. They at this point have showed their hand at B. They've done all kinds of splits, have been able to get away with 1 walk-up, I think, but apart from that, that might be their only round win. And as for NRG, their holds have been great. At this point, you don't even really have to call so much. It's just, what do OpTic want to try to do next? You know, what do they want to try to do next? We're playing fairly standard. We aren't pushing things and getting kills. We're just doing great on the retakes, and we're doing great at stopping executes in the first place. So if I'm Daps, I'm keep it up, guys. You know, that's just keep it simple. A double op setup really strengthens that, allows you to calcify your defense, just stay and hold long angles, and allow your rifles to move around and look for kills if you need to. But there's really no reason to do anything special. So many rounds to work with.
See OpTic position 3 players, bomb included, over on the ramp, and then go for the late B play. We saw actually the mirror of this from the T side of NRG, but it's ANJ with an aggressive stance in underpass with an op of all things? No, excuse me, he is on... Okay, that makes much more sense. I was worried.
Yeah.
So an aggressive play from the windowsill gets him an opening pick. Nicely done. And that's going to maybe force the hand of OpTic to entry towards the A site. Breeze, though, in a position to stop this here and now. He's got 2 players supporting him on the bomb site. They should lock in Palace, but now he's fallen off of that ramp, and he gives some wiggle room. Nice collateral from Cirque with the op. 3 peeks for the 3rd, and he can still find the 4th. He needs to flick to the left, and he takes it.
Damn.
Excellently done. Excellent hold. Bulgarian powerhouse on the ace.
Bulgarian power. What a monster, dude. This flick is nuts. You see him on the left corner of the scope, and that's the double, obviously. Gets spammed through the box on his left, has the opportunity to reposition, very high pressure flick, hits HS, and as this last player jumps out of Palace, doesn't realize he's right there off the corner of his smoke, or not even, doesn't even see him in the scope actually, just off of taking that fire. Insane flick.
Breeze with a headshot onto Magisk already. That's middle in the hands of NRG, so not pulling off the gas pedal, but still charging in as OpTic do the same. Towards the B site, bomb is here, and it's going to be planted, leading us into the 3v3 double op retake. But NRG find an opening, thanks to the cat kill from Fugly. And he gets boosted, moves over towards Cat as well, so Fugly's got support now. Cirque, meanwhile, just going to play the long con and hope to find a man in market. Molotovs aplenty to the CT side as Fugly finds a frag on Freiburg. All lose all that's left, and there we go. NRG able to split maps here tonight versus OpTic, handing them their first loss in the North American Pro League.
Absolutely beast mode. What a way to finish it as well. The B hit that doesn't even have ANJ there, just dabs alone with a rifle. They're able to retake it even after going down 5v4 and 2 ops on the retake. Super nuts.
I'm happy to eat my words in this case. I thought that after that first map, we were going to watch OpTic just continue to plow forward, but that was a completely different NRG, one that I think alludes more to their previous results in the Pro League. Again, they've made the land 2 seasons back-to-back, despite going through significant roster changes, and now they have something of an accolade. They've beaten OpTic, the first team to do so of all 4 NA teams we've watched play them so far. But in order to talk about what you guys just saw further, we're going to give it back to the experts on the Xfinity Analyst Desk.
Well, thank you very much, guys. And indeed, we did just see it. OpTic's first loss here in Season 6 of the ESL Pro League, and it is against NRG. Was that the expected result after what we saw on map number 1? Big surprise, right?
I mean, that was a complete reverse right there. It looked like OpTic finally woken up there, and I mean, I wasn't that surprised that NRG is going to win, but in that fashion.
Oh, come on. Wasn't that surprised?
I thought NRG could take OpTic. I thought NRG could put up a fight and do well. I know they're a decent team, but after the first map, I thought maybe they were on their off day or whatever, but OpTic, though, just falling through right there.
Yeah, Cirque went completely ham, and as they would say, so in Bulgaria, when they're watching like football or soccer there, because soccer's a big sport, they see Bulgari Yunasi when they're cheering when a good play is made. And I think we saw it on that second to last round. Cirque went absolutely ham, just ripping 4 people down with the op from triple box. So, triple box HS is like a veteran of that. So I'm really interested to see NRG move forward after that hard loss. I'm really proud they came back as well. Super happy with that result.
I'm glad that they did too.
Well, let's talk about the dominance of Cirque that we saw throughout the course of that map. Going into the very last round, he had 22 kills. I was unsure if he got any more towards the end of there, but easily over 20 frags throughout the course of that matchup. What a monster, right?
Starts off with the collat and then takes down HS over a jungle, and I think he makes it a 4K right here, flicking back over, towards A ramp. That shot was way faster than it looked right there because they slowed it down. So great round by Cirque. Again, Bulgari Yunasi.
Yeah, when you have an opera that's just hitting those shots on fire, it makes your teamwork just feels a lot better because you're hitting those nice shots. It's like 1 down, okay, 2 down. Well, I don't have to worry about my job if my teammates just headshotting people with ops all day. So Cirque really, well, not to take away from the B hold as well as for Team NRG.
Yeah,
they were
Ange.
locking down B pretty often on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had everything going for them there. There was a few interesting rounds. I think somebody got boosted in window and caught Cirque off, right? So it was they won. So they won both pist rounds. NRG won both pist rounds, and on the CT anti-eco round, Cirque was overstaying his welcome a little bit in the window, and I think Alu got boosted up and one teched him in the face as he was jumping up, right? The proverbial jumping tech 9 to the face. So that's one thing I always, right here.
Right here.
This is something you want to avoid, people. So as you're running out of spawn in your next pug, tell everyone to not rubberneck or overextend in mid.
As you saw right there, the M4 out of all the guns is all alone in middle, no backup from the teammates on catwalk or in the connector area, and so that late in the round, I think it was probably 1 minute 10 or something like this. Around that time, you don't see anyone middle. There's no noise A or B. Expect some people to come underpass. I mean, OpTic did a really nice job of that fast boost and that quick kill, but just like keep it tighter together, play more of the bomb.
It's just unnecessary, right?
I mean, you don't have to. It's not necessary to find it. Okay, they're in the middle. So what? They still have to come to A or B to plant the bomb. Just play like a triangle defense or something in A. Play passive. Watch each other's angles backs, not just spaghetti out like that in the middle.
So there's 2 points to make there, because I like that round really tilts me, right? Like as a pro team, at that point in the round, you really do not need to be peeking window.
Well, we do have one replay to take a look at here. It's from round 14 in the matchup here. I'll let you guys go ahead and take away and explain what exactly is going on in this replay.
So this is the round, right? So NRG already has 7 rounds on the board. It's the second to last round of the half. But I think this round, the way that they cover the after plant is like emblematic of how they played so much differently in this map, right? Like the CTs knew exactly where everyone on NRG was in the site, and they had decent amount of grenades, no molly for firebox. But NRG still takes it, right? It's because they're playing as a team. They're saying, all right, let's handle this guy at CT together, right? Like they're taking the isolated fights against one CT and making them face 2 or 3 Ts at a time, right? When they fought that guy at CT spawn, a guy actually Palace, their 3rd T that was in the afterplant, helped him out there as well. So it's like NRG came with a completely different game style on map 2, and I was super happy to see it.
Well, they do indeed come out on top at the end of the day there and claim a 1-1 in today's series. And if you guys missed any of that action, you can just go ahead and rewind right here on YouTube and check that out. Don't forget as well to subscribe to our channel here to not only keep up with all the action, but have the VODs available to you whenever you'd like to view them for your own viewing pleasure. But that's going to do it for us here at the Xfinity Analysis Desk for right now. It's going to be a 30-minute break between now and the next match, but coming up next, it's going to be our featured match for the evening, Immortals taking on Cloud9. Stick with us. We'll be right back.